The objective of SVP 360 feedback is to help leaders get better at their jobs by helping them identify their strengths, as well as areas they can improve in. This also helps the organization to increase its capacity to perform at higher levels as a whole. One of the key roles of supervisors in 360 feedback is conducting debriefs for team members receiving feedback. This debrief is arguably the most important part of the exercise because how it is handled will greatly influence how the recipient responds to it. It is also the catalyst in getting the recipient to take action in response to the feedback. A debrief should be to highlight the areas that the recipient should pay attention to and get him or her to take action. Andy is a manager who is conducting a 360 feedback debrief for Billy. A few days before meeting Billy for his debrief, Andy reads his report several times. Leaving some time before the actual review date allows him to fully reflect upon what his report says. Firstly, he gets an overall impression of the review and looks at the consistency of the feedback. Then he looks out for key strengths and key development areas from his review, as well as key points from written comments. When Billy arrives for his debrief, Andy first explains the purpose of the debrief and his role as a supervisor. He assures Billy that his review will be kept confidential. Firstly, Andy asks Billy what he feels is positive in the report. Andy does so because people tend to focus on the negatives, so he tries to get Billy to give due credit to himself regarding his strengths. Furthermore, receiving positive feedback makes a person feel good. Strengths can often provide insight to a person's areas for development. When a person is very good at something, there is usually something opposite to it that he or she is not so good at. For example, Billy is very good at accomplishing tasks. However, his review shows that several of his respondents feel that he can be a bit demanding at times. Andy takes this opportunity to ask Billy what he feels about the negatives in the report. In his discussion with Billy, Andy adds his own personal observations on the feedback and takes special attention in explaining why any improvement needed is beneficial for Billy, as well as the whole organization. Finally, Andy asks Billy to write down a summary of the key strengths and improvement points from the report, together with a personal development plan. While the contents of the debrief are confidential, the organization needs to know how it translates to action. Thus, Andy gets Billy to write the summary and development plan in order to get him to take ownership of the follow-up actions that he has written down. These documents will also act as a witness to what Billy has committed to doing. So, remember that the debrief is the most crucial part of the 360 feedback process. After all, if recipients don't respond to any feedback given, the entire exercise will have been fruitless. But when carried out properly, 360 feedback can really help leaders to grow and the organization to function better as a whole.